Meta thought it could win by shifting the blame. Instead of confronting the accusation directly, the company pointed to a young woman's family life, her personal struggles, and her pain. But in a Los Angeles courtroom, jurors were not convinced. In a landmark verdict delivered on March 25, 2026, a jury found Meta and Google liable for harm linked to addictive social media design. The award? $6 million. The case was a 20-year-old woman identified as KGM. She told the court that she became hooked on Instagram and YouTube as a child, and that those platforms worsened her anxiety, depression, self-harm, and body image struggles. After more than 40 hours of deliberation, jurors concluded that the platforms were a substantial factor in her harm. Meta was assigned 70% of the blame, Google 30%. Meta's defense tried to tell a different story. According to reports from the courtroom, the company leaned heavily on KGM's difficult home life and personal challenges, arguing that Instagram was not the real cause of the damage. To many observers, that looked like victim blaming. And that strategy failed. Why did the jury reject it? Because the question before the jury was never whether social media was the only cause of her suffering. The real question was this: were Meta and Google negligent? Did they fail to warn users? And were their products a substantial factor in causing harm? The jury's answer was clear: yes. What made the plaintiff's case powerful was that it focused on something concrete: design. Not vague arguments, not cultural excuses, not distractions. Design. Features like infinite scroll, autoplay, and recommendation systems were presented as tools built to keep young users engaged for as long as possible. And once jurors focused on that, Meta's blame shifting may have made the company look less credible, not more. That is why this case matters. Because this was not just one lawsuit. It is being seen as a warning shot for thousands of similar claims still facing social media companies. Meta and Google say they will appeal, but this verdict sent a message that is impossible to ignore. Addictive design is no longer just a public criticism. It may now be a legal liability. Meta tried to make the case about the victim. The jury made it about the product. And that may be the moment big tech's old playbook stopped working. But this verdict may be bigger than the money. Because what happened in that courtroom could open the door to something far more dangerous for big tech. More lawsuits, more parents stepping forward, more internal documents being dragged into public view, and more pressure on social media companies to explain exactly how their platforms are designed to keep young users hooked. This case may not be the end. It may be the beginning. A beginning of stricter regulation, a beginning of tougher legal battles, and a beginning of a public reckoning that social media giants may no longer be able to control. If future juries follow this one, Meta, Google, and other platforms could face not just reputational damage, but a wave of legal and financial consequences that reshape the industry itself. Because once a jury decides that addictive design can be a legal liability, the question is no longer whether these companies will be challenged. The question is, how many more times and how much deeper this goes? Meta tried to make the case about one victim. The jury turned it into a warning for the entire industry. And this may be the moment the social media empire began to crack. If you believe big tech should be held accountable for the harm its platforms may cause, then this story is only getting started. Subscribe now for more deep investigations, powerful documentaries, and untold stories shaping our world. Like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and tell me this: should social media companies be treated like big tobacco when it comes to harm and addiction? Subscribe, because the next chapter of this story may be even bigger than the verdict itself.